House Republicans approved the budget framework necessary to kickstart talks on President Trump's big legislative agenda. House Speaker Johnson worked throughout the night to satisfy fiscal hawks who worry the bill doesn't do enough to pull back on spending. The main focus is extending the 2017 tax cuts. Here's Speaker Johnson addressing concerns about finding areas to trim back in exchange for the cuts.
The Democrats are out right now trying to make hay out of the fact that we're going to gut Medicaid and all these other things. It's simply not true. We're going to protect the essential programs for everybody who's eligible to receive those. And you'll see that reflected in the final bill.
One place Democrats say the GOP is targeting is Medicaid. Some Senate Republicans have asked Trump for promises the program won't be touched. Johnson says it won't, but that there will be an effort to cut out waste.
President Trump's big, beautiful bill has finally passed, which raises the possibility of a DOGE dividend check. The Obamas are on the outs as Michelle Obama's podcast gets absolutely no love from Democrats. And we have some tragic news out in New York City in what appears to be another helicopter mishap. Now, guys, we have a lot to talk about today, starting with the big, beautiful bill that's set to cut government spending by at least $1.5 trillion.
Republicans have done it. Breaking news now, an update. The House just voted to advance President Trump's budget resolution and this important step regarding the big, beautiful bill. Senior congressional correspondent comes back now. Chad Pergram is on the Hill. Chad, first of all, tell us about how this step feeds to the next.
Yeah, they have to get this step done, which they did just a few moments ago, to have the House and Senate on the same page, have the same document that they're working off, in order to avoid a filibuster when they actually do the bill in the Senate. So the House kind of taking a little bit of a hit here from the Senate was very important in this process. And that's why there was so much consternation, frankly, from some conservatives. If you look at what the House had done in its budget resolution, they only approved $1.5 trillion in spending cuts. And the floor was $4 billion in the Senate. So they got these assurances from the Senate Budget Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham, also John Thune, the majority leader, were able to work this out. And so now they actually get down to writing the bill. The final vote here, it was a tight one. Once again, this is where Mike Johnson continues to say, do not underestimate the House Republicans. It was 216 to 214. There were 2 Republican absences and 2 Republican noes, Thomas Massey of Kentucky and also Victoria Spartz of Indiana Harris.
Now, remember that it's expected that a $2 trillion cut to spending could provide American taxpayers with a DOGE dividend check. And that DOGE dividend check would be $5,000. But of course, we're not really sure how these cuts are going to affect the savings that DOGE is looking to make at the moment. But it's obviously a step in the right direction, with the creator of the DOGE dividend stimulus checks confirming that he's confident that they will actually be sent out. So here's James Fishback talking to Chris Cuomo about it. Watch.
Yes, I really do believe it will happen. And I've got unique information because I've been on the Hill for the last 2 weeks meeting with members in the House and the Senate. Got some really good constructive feedback, but overwhelmingly really positive support on this proposal. It's common sense, Chris. When the government saves money, the government doesn't make its own money. This is taxpayer money. It ought to send some of that back to the taxpayers who sent it to DC in the first place. And so to your second question about an expectation, I would just push back on that respectfully because I am very optimistic this will happen. Of course, there are some folks, Speaker Johnson, I just had a nice little email exchange with his team about some feedback and we're answering that now. But I got to tell you, when you have the support of a president who won the way that he did, the support of Elon Musk, the support of the cabinet of Secretary Besson, of Kevin Hassett, who leads the NEC, we're going to make the best case for this. I don't rest on the laurels of President Trump's support for it. I still have to make the best argument possible. And that's what we're doing. But I got to tell you, Chris, let's be honest. When's the last time an economic policy proposal got this much national coverage from just everyday Americans, not just folks in my circle or yours, but to have Charlemagne the God? And I'm looking through TikTok and Instagram. There are thousands of videos every day from hardworking folks saying, this is why I need a DOGE dividend. So I'm not going to let him down. I'm working every day. It's the first thing I think about, the last thing I think about every single morning and evening. How can we get this across the line for Americans?
Now, he's obviously pretty optimistic given the success of Republicans so far. Now, at the moment, Doge is reporting savings of at least $150 billion, which equates to savings of almost $1,000 per year. Now, there's still a long way to go, but it's encouraging to see that Doge is doing exactly what they said that they would do, which means that the possibility of these checks being sent out has gone up. This is something that many struggling Americans are hoping for. Now, quick tip, you guys, you're going to thank me for this later. I went looking for a place that would really help you out with Medicare, and Chapter, they knocked it out the park. If you or someone you love is on Medicare or turning 65 soon, you don't have to try to figure it out alone. Chapter's team of experts will help you find the right plan and make sure that your doctors are covered, and they'll even check to see if you qualify for extra benefits. They look at every single plan in your area, not just a few, and they save the average senior $1,100 a year. The best part, it's completely free. No pressure. Just real human help. So call our friends over at Chapter. Their number is 909-563-8279, or click the link in the description down below. Medicare is complicated. I get it. But getting the help that you deserve, it doesn't have to be. And moving on, guys, Democrats aren't having the best time as their top two leaders are facing a lot of scrutiny. Now, I'm talking about former President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle. Now, guys, we've seen Obama show up to multiple events without Michelle Obama, which started the rumor that the two have already split ways. Now, I don't know if they're really getting a divorce or not, but Michelle Obama, she went on Sophia Bush's podcast to confirm that they're actually still together.
Michelle Obama is putting to bed rumors that she and the former president are divorcing.
Now is the time for me to start asking myself these hard questions of who do I truly want to be every day?
Speaking on actress Sophia Bush's podcast, Mrs. Obama, now 61, spoke about her newfound independence. The speculation about her marriage grew in January when former President Obama showed up solo to President Trump's inauguration and to Jimmy Carter's funeral.
We start actually finally like going, what am I doing? You know, who am I doing this for? And if it doesn't fit into the sort of stereotype of what people think we should do, then it gets labeled as something negative and horrible.
She was in Hawaii on vacation during Carter's funeral, and she says she chose not to attend the Trump inauguration. She says not being tied to political life, and with her daughters now grown, she has more time for herself.
They couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself, that they had to assume that my husband and I are divorcing. You know, this couldn't be a grown woman just making a set of decisions for herself.
A grown woman? I don't know about that. But just like her public persona with Barack Obama, Michelle Obama's podcast continues to be on the rocks. Now, it's kind of insane to see how someone who holds so much power within the left isn't getting as much support from Democrats. In fact, her podcast episodes here on YouTube are getting a lot of dislikes. Now, I know you can't see them, but there's an extension that you can use in order to see those details. You're going to be surprised because she was being seen as a possible presidential nominee after Biden got pulled out of the race. You can also check for yourself because the comments on her videos are out of this world. She's getting wrecked by people online, just destroyed. With a lot of them not even watching or listening to the podcast. They're just clicking the video just so that they can leave a comment. Now, most of the comments are of people who literally went on her video just to comment. Now, of course, there's always outliers who are saying that the podcast was absolutely amazing, even though many people claim that those are paid bots. And if so, this is a great representation of the Democratic Party at the moment. They're extremely unpopular. I mean, not just with Republicans and independents, but even Democrats are not watching her podcast. Just to give you an idea, here's one comment that got a lot of attention. It says 14,000 people came to see the comments and not the video, with several people agreeing and saying that they all pushed play, pause, and then went straight to the comment section to clown the show. Now, let's talk about New York City, as a helicopter was reported to have crashed recently in the Hudson River, with footage showing some rather questionable details as the helicopter went down.
The terrifying final moments of the helicopter flight, it captured on video as it fell out of the sky and plunged into New York City's Hudson River.
We have multiple boats still in the water conducting searches for any additional occupants of the aircraft.
These images showing the chopper turned upside down in the water.
These are the ambulance, we got our cars in the water.
The plane was turned around, sitting there in the water, almost like it was floating.
Tonight, authorities say the crash happened around 3:17 p.m., that 6 people were on board that flight, and there are no survivors.
According to the manifest, aboard the helicopter were 6 people, 1 pilot, 2 adults, and 3 children.
So reports have come out that one of the people on the helicopter was confirmed to be an executive for the company Siemens. Just before the incident, actual footage showed the helicopter seemed to be missing a quarter of its body. Now, it's still unclear as to how this happened, which brings into question the safety of having these kinds of tours and if proper safety regulations were even followed. Now, I want to redirect you to some other shocking news that I've covered recently. I talked about this in a recent live stream where the leadership of the IRS may have committed federal crimes, all to aid their efforts to keep illegal immigrants inside the country. Anyway, make sure you guys check that one out. As always, thanks for your time. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.